Claire, how are you associated with East London?
Yeah, I work in Walthamstow. I'm a police officer in Waltham Forest Police, and my connection with sort of working with the gay community here has been through hate crime. I've been working in the community because there's the term used is public sex environment, and there's been some homophobic attacks in an area where public sex takes place. There was a big increase in crime, and so there was a lot of community interest, but there was also a lot of work done, and quite a lot of the crime was solved. So I've become involved in the community through working together to first of all prevent, but secondly to solve the crime if it does happen. And we've got together with ELOP now, and we've produced a leaflet. We have produced a leaflet. We are producing, using work in progress, but working so that we can have a leaflet that outlines all the different services, what people would do, how we've mentioned third party reporting, that sort of thing. So it's really been about hate crime, my connection. Although some of my colleagues have become involved in ELOP just as sort of on a social sort of community engagement sort of basis.
And Ben, are you?
How am I connected to the borough?
Or both?
Yeah, I was born in Waltham Forest, and then when we were 6, my parents moved out to Redbridge, which is where they are now. And then when I was 17, I moved back to the borough, and then about 5 years ago, something like that, I moved back out to Redbridge. I'm in sort of Epping Forest borders of Redbridge as well. And I now work as well in Waltham Forest in children's services as well. So I've got kind of a fondness for Waltham Forest, I do have, and I love working here, and I actually really like the communities in Waltham Forest. Having said that, I would never come and live here again. I have to. No, I don't want to be all negative. That's the thing. I don't, because I have got a fondness for the borough, and I like being around here in the week, in the day, and even in the weekend. But I must say, I prefer to be where I am living, even though there's actually probably 0 gay people. I think it's in Woodford. I'm sure there's no gay people in the area.
True.
Well, I don't see any. We've got one person around the corner, haven't we? No,
You're the only gay person.
yeah, you don't see anyone.
Is that why you like living there?
No, I like living there because it's near greenery. It's nothing to do with people, but I think I feel safer actually in Woodford, even though I know there's prejudice in Woodford in a different sort, than I did in Waltham Forest. I didn't ever feel very safe living here, just because I had quite a number of homophobic attacks and verbal assaults years ago, just around the borough. But like I said, working here, it's changed. I think maybe it's changed. I think in some ways it's gone downhill, the borough, and in other ways, I don't know, but maybe that's because I'm not here at night and on the weekends, so suddenly I feel it's all right again. But yeah, I mean, I've got a fondness, and I came to ELOP, funnily enough, now I remember when it was in Leighton, whenever that was, the late 90s, I do remember it being there, and then I came here for a number of years, probably from 2001 until 2006, something like that. So, yeah.
Sonnie.
Do you have the same sentiments as Ben about Redbridge?
I've sort of come from a very different background. I was born accidentally, really, in Germany. I know that sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? No, I was born in Germany, and I lived there for 7 years in total, although it was to and from England and Germany. My dad was in the forces, and then I moved around the country, really, growing up, and I went to school in Cheltenham. So I've sort of got a broad sort of picture of everywhere, really. I then went to uni in Northampton, and I laugh because Alan Carr came from Northampton. I think my experience of East London as a gay place, I suppose, is less than Northampton. I knew about the gay areas in Northampton more than here. But anyway, so after uni, I was looking for a job, and I was heading for London. And that was it, because that was bright lights, big city, and I'm going to have a good time. And there was a bit of a rebellious streak in me as well. So that's at the same time. My friends, I kept hearing about a certain part in London, Ilford. So I thought, I know you may laugh. So I thought, bright lights, big city, Ilford. So I rocked up in Ilford, and I was so happy, you know. I know, and I used to go. Well, actually, sorry to jump around, but before that, I'd gone clubbing with a gay male friend of mine. We used to go from Northampton on the train and go to all the clubs in London, and then sleep when you could do, sleep in Euston Station, and come back. And so yeah, that was my. And so I thought, you know, if I lived in Ilford, I could do that all the time and not have to sleep at Euston Station. So I did, and then I ran out of money very quickly because I didn't realise how expensive London was. But anyway, yes, I had a bit of a wild time, really. I moved, like Sarah, I moved here in 91. I think it was January the 1st or something, 91. No, sorry, 92. And then, yeah, just went on a wild time, really. Yeah, I visited many places, mainly in central London. Fifth Avenue in Ilford, don't go there again. Yeah, my experience of being gay, really, in East London or London as a whole, has been quite a weird one, I think, and probably because of the way I look, I suppose. Because when I was younger, in my 20s, I used to hear all sorts of things from mainly work colleagues and friends about, you know, this gay person and that, and all the negative things. And although I'm quite free, really, I don't like to label myself. I hate labels, and I just want space to be who I am. I'm just who I am first of all, and then everything else comes after. And but I had heard some quite interesting things, almost being on the other side, as it were, about. So that was my impression, really, of East London. So I don't really experience prejudice in the same way that I hear about. You know, I don't get things thrown at me or shouted at me, or generally in the street. And when I'm with Ben, I think people generally think that Ben's my son or something. You know, it's I know, yeah, it is really, yeah, it's funny, yeah. So that's mainly my experience. At work, it's been slightly different because I am out at work, but obviously initially when I tell people, they're quite shocked. And I do remember I told one person, and she said, she said, "You don't look like a lesbian." I said, "Oh, what does a lesbian look like?" And yeah, so, but you know, when they get to know me, you know, it's fine. And we, you know, in the office we talk about relationships, and I join in and talk about my relationship, and there isn't any issues or problems.
So Sarah, this out business, you know, is part of the name of ELOP. How do you find it has changed or not changed?
That's interesting. It's interesting for me on a personal level about that sort of being out, because I've been out for years, and I'm very vocal about being out. And you know, every time I've taken a job, I've said I'm a lesbian. If that causes you any concerns, don't employ me. So I've made it really abundantly clear. But it's interesting because I had a child. My little boy's 4.5 years old now, and it's interesting. Me and my partner on the streets together with our son. Of course, he's still quite young. We're not seen as a couple of lesbians. When we're on our own, it's obvious. You know, people make the assumptions. But somehow, when you've got a baby with you, it's amazing how suddenly you are not a lesbian anymore, because people don't put the two things together. So that's quite interesting about actually how invisible, in some ways, we've become to the extent when we've gone, we've gone to hospitals, and my partner, I dye my hair. That's because I'm vain. And my partner has grey hair, partly because she's 10 years older, but also she's not as vain as I am. And so when we went, he was 6 weeks old, and we went to the local hospital, had a brain scan, sitting on her knee, and the doctor said, "So you're the grandmother?" No, this is the other mum. But it's interesting how invisible potentially you become as parents, that people don't assume two women are parents together. So that's been interesting in terms of actually having been out. And I am the noisy, gobby lesbian in the bar, and that is my reputation and title, unfortunately. To suddenly being seen as this invisible person, and it's interesting that somehow being a mum means I'm not a lesbian anymore. And it's like, it's an interesting process, and it'll be interesting. My son's going to start going to school in September, so that'll be interesting how that works, because he clearly knows he's got two mums and no dad. And that's not an issue in terms of nursery, and they've all understood that. But it'd be interesting when he goes into a much kind of less protected environment about how that works, because suddenly he has to be out as well. So it's interesting, it's not just us that are out, he's going to be, well, he might choose not to be, but I think it'll be, I think it'll be difficult for him not to be. So it's interesting for me about what out means. I think the out issue is interesting because we've always had a discussion about, ELOP and out, and people, because we've had out in our title, we call ourselves ELOP, but it originally came from the East London Out project. People assume it's a project for coming out, and you think, no, it's just a project for people who identify as having same-sex relationships, whatever that might mean to them. And it's not, for some people, of course they come here to talk about coming out, but for other people it's incidental, and actually they've come here because, for example, our counselling centre, because they want to talk about the fact that their mum's died and not have their sexual orientation as the focus, but actually having gone to see a straight counsellor, it's their sexual orientation that's been the focus, not the fact that they're grieving. So it's interesting what people sort of do with the out in the title and what it means to be out, because I think it's interesting, you talk about, it depends what you look like. People do make sort of assumptions really, and depending on who you are, and it's a bit that thing. Someone shouted at me in the streets the other day, and there's a part of me that wants to kind of applaud, lesbian, and I think, oh, well done, you recognise me. But actually, and I do want to kind of clap and but actually they don't mean it in that positive way. It's meant as an insult. But I think it's also interesting hearing sort of both of you two talk about sort of the gay scene, and actually. So the experience of being out, I think, as a woman is sort of different, because I think when I go around, and we do occasionally do this sort of, for me, like sort of the pubs in Tower Hamlets, they are very male orientated, they're not full of women. And the same, I remember Central Station when before it was the Artful Dodger, before it was Central Station, remember those days? And then it became something else. But again, it wasn't full of, it's interesting that I think the experience of being out is quite different for men and women because of what things you have available as well. So I think that's, for me, was quite interesting.
Richard, you came out quite early, didn't you?
Yes. In 1979, I went to the London Gay Teenage Group, as it then was, and there was a party. And the teenage group was very mixed. My late partner Bob was later treasurer, and my friend Jane was secretary, and I was chair, and I was secretary. But the teenage group had a little room at the back, little office, and it was full of beer and alcohol. And all these young people, most of whom were under 18, relished the opportunity to get a drink. Unfortunately, I got between some young women and the alcohol. And consequently, I ended up getting a black eye. And I had to go home, and rather than being at St Mary's St Erkenwald's Youth Club, and my parents thought I was, I'd been at London Gay Teenage Group, so I had to tell them, and at that point the truth was the easiest option. So at 15 I was out. I had a wonderful grandmother who had worked for Norman Hartnell and worked on the Queen's coronation dress and all sorts of things, and she knew gay men, and she had probably already guessed anyway, but she hadn't told me. And she was wonderfully supportive, and she made life an awful lot easier. So I was out at 15. And the following year, when I was 16, my dear mother signed the papers for my age of consent case, which was the first challenge to age of consent for gay men in the European Court of Human Rights. So I've kind of been out and political as a gay man since I was 15, really.